Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI Shortcuts to Work Smarter. I'm Madalyn Sklar. Today, we're going to dive into useful tips like we always do here, plus tricks, advice, all kinds of things that can help you do more with AI, but also your social media content as well, because so many of this ties into each other. We're going to look at my latest YouTube thumbnail workflow. I have a cool new one I've been working on, just like this whole workflow using AI, which allows me to do things quicker and better. I keep finding better ways to do this with AI. So I'm going to show you what I've been working on this week and how quickly I was able to do this. We're also going to look at some cool tricks you can do with Notebook LM. I feel like Notebook LM is just one of those ones we don't talk about enough. And I feel like it's one of those AI tools that's extremely powerful, but kind of gets pushed off to the side. And it is powered by Google, and there's so many great things you can do with this. I want to show you a couple of new things today that you may not know about. Plus, we're going to look at the new Gemini 3 and Nano Banana. I've been playing around with it a lot, and I want to show you some cool things I've been doing. There's also big changes coming to Facebook. If you've not heard, they're going to shift how creators post and get discovered. It's interesting. So we're going to take a look at that, just so if anything, you're aware of it. Plus, we're going to look at Substack's new desktop live stream capabilities they just added, which I'm super excited about. And at the end, I'm going to share just some really smart tips and advice from Alex Hermosi and Gary Vaynerchuk. They have some interesting thoughts on where social media is heading. If you're new here, welcome. What do I do here? I help creators and entrepreneurs get more done with AI to help boost their productivity without feeling overloaded. I've overloaded, and I keep coming up with great ways of doing this for myself that helps me, that I want to share with everyone. Plus, I always throw in a dash of social media know-how that will help keep you ahead of the game, because as you know, there's always things changing and happening. Just want to make sure you're able to stay ahead. This live stream is brought to you by my AI Shortcuts to Work Smarter school community. Be sure to go check it out at school.com/Madalyn Sklar. I'm finally going to be opening up my paid inner circle group. I have the free community there. Everybody's welcome to join. I am going to have an inner circle for those that want more than just this. It's going to be $35 a month. I'll have details coming soon, but basically it's taking a lot of these things we're talking about here that's more of an overview and deep diving into it, plus answering your questions and just doing it as a weekly group session. So that's the latest with everything. Let's bring up all of our awesome panelists, Bobby, Bez, Barb, and Rachel. Always good to see y'all here.
Hello.
Hello.
It's holiday time. It's holiday time. I cannot believe, like, in a few weeks it'll be Christmas. I know, I see your Christmas tree there, Bez. So 2 weeks from today will be Christmas. So we will be taking a break, and then the week after will be New Year's. So
is that an advent calendar, Bez? Oh, it is.
It is. I found it behind some furniture here in the house, and I dusted it off, and it's got one door missing, but that's all right, you know.
It's very cool. I like it.
I got really quick. I got a for Pip. They have at Trader Joe's a cat advent calendar. So every day you open it up and you get a little treat. It's really cute.
Oh, well, let me zoom in on Bez so we can get a better look at it. Let's see, Bez. Very nice.
Oh, that's pretty.
Very festive.
Thank you, Vanna.
I love it. Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, we appreciate all the people that are here for the live stream. We're live streaming in I see all the places we're at. It's a lot. So thank you to our panelists, co-hosts here with us today that are putting this out to y'all's Facebook and LinkedIn's and YouTube's and X. We are all over the world broadcasting, and so it's always a fun time hanging out. We've been doing this live stream version for over a year now. But it used to be the old Twitter chat from back in the day, 10 years ago, started in 2015. And I love that we all just kind of pivot, and there's Pip. We pivot and we pip and we do all the things. And here we are, even pivoting from social media and AI shortcuts to really I'm just been focusing more on just AI shortcuts to help us be more productive and work smarter. But as I said in my intro, so much of social media stuff ties into it, a whole lot of it. So, oh, my friend Kelly's here. Hey, Kelly, out in LA, one of my longtime friends in the music business from back in the day. So, as always, y'all, I have so much to talk about. I always do. Never a lack of information, and always a reminder to join us on the school platform, school.com/Madalyn Sklar. Come hang out with us over there, because that's where the conversation continues. And I've been posting a lot this week. Have y'all noticed? I've just been putting up all kinds of things. Barb's been posting stuff. There was that news that she posted this morning about Disney is striking a $1 billion deal with OpenAI. That is wild. I mean, I read through it. I don't think much of this affects me, but it's definitely interesting. Definitely encourage y'all to go read through that, because it's interesting information. And I love staying on top of YouTube. YouTube is one of my favorite platforms to use, and lots of information, lots of new things that they're doing, and then a great tip video on just different settings you should be aware of in YouTube. And this guy went through 30 different ones, and it was fascinating. Just lots of little things that you may not even realize you should check on your settings to make sure you're getting the most out of it. Also, the Atlas browser from ChatGPT, I really love it. I use it all the time now. So we got a lot. And then Bez was trying to get us to do an 80s party night last week. It wasn't scheduled. I didn't even realize.
I hung out for 5 or 10 minutes and nobody
I didn't get a
showed up, so
notification, so I did not even realize. I thought I had my notifications on in school. I'm like, how did I miss this? But we will do something. We've been talking about this for months now. Bez has such a great idea. Like, let's do a live stream back to the 80s, baby, and just for fun. But right before we went live, Rachel was saying we should do this on Substack, and especially have live streaming on desktop. So not just mobile only or through the third-party tools like Jim's been, showing us how you can do it through StreamYard, like what we're using here right now. So Rachel, what do you think of that? Because I mean, you're a big Substack user.
Sorry, it was muted. You probably can't hear Pip. He's purring like crazy. He's so excited to watch everybody. It's hilarious.
Aww.
I haven't tried Substack video yet. I've opened up the app when it was mobile only and, thought, well, maybe I'll just do something like you were saying, Baz. Sometimes you just have some time and you're like, well, let's just see what happens. But I just haven't had the time to do that. So I want to. I think it would be fun if we did this over on Substack, if everyone's open to doing that, just to see who comes, how does it go? What's it like? We learn by doing. So
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said the magical phrase of the day. You learn by doing. I've been saying for a while now, I'm going to start this inner circle at school. Now school has paid tiers. So I got the free community for everybody to join, but let's have a paid one inside of it which is a feature I've been asking them to do for like 2 years. And now that we have it, I'm just like, I have these ideas, but I'm not acting on it. So this morning I'm like, I'm just going to start it. If anybody wants to come join, come hang out. You don't have to. There's no pressure. But we got to just do, I mean, it's just, I do have a tattoo that says that. A nice reminder. Just do it.
Yep.
Many times we learn by just doing, and it doesn't mean it's like, okay, you're doing something and that's all you can do, or that's the only way to do it. You tweak and you adjust. Just like when I started this Thursday 1-hour chat in 2015, it was the Smarter Twitter chat. It was an idea. I'd started the podcast version. It took off. People loved it. And I thought, well, let me do a Twitter chat. Hey, Pip, let me do a Twitter chat version in addition. And I didn't know if anybody would come. I didn't. And that's why I think I met most of you all. I'm like, I don't know if anybody would come to this, but I'm just going to do it. And I literally decided a few days before, like, I'm just going to do it. Why not? It'll be fun. I had already been doing Twitter chats in my music community, so I very well versed. I'd been doing them for, gosh, at that point, I started my first Twitter chat in 2011. So I'd already been doing it weekly for years. I actually did it twice. Couldn't do it just once. I did it 2 of them on this every Thursday because it got so popular. People overseas were like, "Yeah, but this is like 3 in the morning for us. Can you do it earlier in the day?" And it's like, "Well, let me just add another time slot." So we did it twice every Thursday. And then I started Twitter Smarter Twitter chat also on Thursday because I decided, well, I'm already doing 2 of them today. Let me just add 1 more to the mix. Why not? And then just this thing grew. But I pivot. Oh, that's like a funny meme, funny GIF from friends. But it's okay. Figure it out as you go. I didn't know if people would show up. They did, and I just kept growing it, and we all learned from each other, and it was a great experience. And now, years later, it became social media and AI shortcuts, but I, just recently changed it to AI shortcuts to work smarter. So just do and then figure it out as you go. And it's okay to fail.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is, I just wrote an article on Substack about return on relationship, which is a marketing concept coined by Ted Rubin. But basically, it's instead of just being robotic and throwing stuff out there, interact with people, be actually human, right? And that's what I've learned, I think, especially with this growth of Substack and everybody, the mass exodus, et cetera, is what I like about the Substack platform is that it can be whatever you want it to be. If you only want to be there for newsletter and nothing else, great, then just do that. If you only want to be there for video spaces, great, just do that. I like that we have that option. It's all built in there. But for a lot of people, they've spent years on YouTube and they're not going to abandon YouTube when it's going to get way more indexing than you might get with Substack. So it's such a personal, individual choice where to go and where to spend your time.
But as we talk about quite a bit here, don't sleep on it. Substack is powerful, and we've watched this evolution in such a short period of time where it just went from this free newsletter tool, mostly for authors.
Yeah.
That was who was primarily using it. And then we've seen many people starting to use it and embrace it. And I'm working on it right now because I'm paying a monthly cost at MailChimp. And to me, it's like, why should I do MailChimp when I can do it free on Substack? But go a step further, you can also build a community inside of Substack.
Yep.
And you have a social media type of feed in there, and you can connect with people. And the way you and Jim utilize Substack is so impressive. And all people have to do is watch how you do it and watch how Jim does it, because y'all are doing it perfectly. So I'll put your if anybody's not following you, they should, because even though your stuff is geared primarily for book authors, but you share a lot of helpful advice for a lot of things, especially with digital marketing stuff, social media, how to use Substack better. I always find interesting posts that you put out. Watching how you use it with your posts, with the feed, and the way y'all do shout outs to people, which draws people to you. It's like old school Twitter.
It really is.
Tagging people,
It really is. And it was something cool. And then I'll stop talking about Substack. I went in and posted something yesterday, and I highlighted 4 people that I have read this week that I was pretty impressed by. So when I hit publish, it said, do you want to add those people to your recommendations? So I said, of course. Yes. Click, 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 click. And then it said, do you want to share these people that they're mentioned? Like, it does all these things for you.
Yeah.
Whereas with Twitter, there's no prompts like that. And so that's why I really appreciate the effort that they're putting in to make it super user-friendly for even brand new users.
Right. Yeah, it's very user-friendly. But what I love about Substack, the newsletter part of it is so simple and plain,
So
as
easy.
as it should be. Like, just simple and easy, and you can drag and drop and fix it up. But it doesn't have to be like I use MailChimp. one of my newsletters is just plain, and I don't want fancy. That was popular a long time ago. It's not so much anymore. It's not always necessary. So why pay for a service for bells and whistles if you don't really use it and you don't have to have it look a certain way? Like, what's wrong with just keeping it simple and about the content?
Yeah, and you have some formatting options, like you can pick your colors or a font, but they're limited.
Right.
So if you're looking for something that gives you complete freedom, then create your own website.
Exactly. I'm going to show you. I'm going to start off first with this workflow I've been using this week to make my YouTube thumbnails. I'm always just trying different things, and I'm trying to make it so much easier for myself. It used to be you had to hire somebody to create your graphics for you, which it takes time, it takes money. With AI now, I mean, I can sit here and prompt and get this turnaround of something that looks amazing in my eyes in seconds. And so I'm going to show y'all what I did this week, because I was, for my Kratom stuff, my podcast and my live stream, I've really stepped up the graphics. So I want to show y'all this graphic I made. So it's all of this dark, because this I think is pretty good looking, and I put myself in the middle. I played around with that. I was trying to figure out, it was a conversation, and I started with ChatGPT. And here's what I did. ChatGPT is not great for images. Nano Banana, the Gemini, is way better with images. But I use ChatGPT a lot. So I had ChatGPT write me a prompt for Gemini. That's what I asked it to do. So to help me create this image, it started me with first saying to ChatGPT is to create, I wanted to give me a prompt I could put in a Nano Banana. So I explained the video. I think I probably gave it the transcript as well, because I'll usually do that. And the prompt it gave me to feed into Nano Banana is create a bold YouTube thumbnail focused on the headline, capsules versus powder. Show a clear split image on one side, kratom capsules spilling from a bottle, and on the other spoonful of kratom powder. Use strong lighting, high contrast, and clean background so the difference is instantly obvious. Add a female host in the corner with a curious or analytical expression looking towards the two forms. Use modern minimal text that stands out in a small size. I always tell it to do a big size. I don't know why it always does small. The overall feel should be educational and eye-catching without being dramatic or messy. So what I did is I took that and I fed it into Gemini. Now, with Gemini, I'll start there, but y'all may remember I've told y'all about that other tool called Whisk, that Whisk AI. Do y'all remember when we had a conversation about that a while back? And that it is a Google tool, I guess, part of their labs. So I think it was Nano Banana before, when it was still in testing. That's what I think, because it's way better. And so if I don't like what I do in the Gemini 3 with Nano Banana, especially because I'm not on the pro account, I don't want to spend more money on another AI tool. So I'm very conflicted. Should I or should I not? But I find that if I don't like what it does in there on the free account, then I just go over to Whisk. So what I did, I didn't like what it did, so I went to Whisk. And that's just the Whisk AI. I always just go into Google and I type in Whisk AI and it takes me right to it. So when I put the prompt in that I just read to y'all, this is what it gave me. I'm like, okay, I like this, but I think it'd be better if I put a picture of me. So I tried having Whisk do that for me, and it wasn't very successful. So that's when I moved it over to Canva. So I'm going to go back into Canva, which is what it was before. So I go in Canva. Now I'm on a paid account, so I can utilize their AI features. So do you of y'all have the paid Canva where they have all that magic AI stuff that's really cool? Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. So like I put the photo in, and was able to remove that lady, because when you're in an image here, you click on edit, and they have this what's called Magic Studio, and you can like remove, you can erase. So I basically, got rid of the lady in the corner, and then I added the photo of me and sized it to where I wanted. And then I'm like, ooh, let's put a little glow on me. If I see people doing cool effects, I don't know how to do it. I wanted to learn how to glow or outline effect on a person. I just went to YouTube. I typed in like Canva glow outline or whatever. So I learned how to do it, and it's so easy. But it's in the paid account. When you're in the edit, this thing called shadows, and I'm using the glow here, and that's what's making that glow. And then you can really play with it. It's like size, blur amount, and intensity. And so I was playing around with it going, well, let's see, like, how do I want to do this? And for some reason, I felt it looked really good right at 19. And then for the blur, you can play around with this, but I liked it where I was at there. And then intensity, you can adjust that intensity of that glow, and I really liked it right there. So there's all this flexibility to play around with it, but I just find it interesting that I'm utilizing a variety of AI tools. I use AI to help me with a prompt. I feed the prompt into the best AI tool for images, which for me has been Nano Banana and or Whisk. And then to fine tune it, I bring it over to Canva. Because I'm finding with the Gemini 3 and the Whisk, it gets to a point where it gets fatigued and it just will not do. I'll say, make the text bigger, and it does nothing different. It gives me the same thing with no changes. And sometimes I'll just start over and just start with a new chat and give it the current image and then give it changes. And it doesn't always work because it's not perfect. So I'll just feed it into Canva and kind of fine tune it, and then I'm done. And so I was able to create this image probably within like 15 minutes, maybe, like from start to finish. But if I'd been happy with that original version, that was just seconds. But I wanted to kind of personalize it and put my photo in there. So any thoughts on that? I mean, do you all ever play around with doing images and utilizing AI like that?
I do. I have the Pay to Canva account as well, and I love that they took over Affinity, because then I didn't need Photoshop anymore. I didn't need the Adobe products, so it was just such a relief. And then being able to work with both of them at the same time is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that is cool. Rachel, how are you doing images? You still like outsource to a graphic designer?
Yeah, I have a graphics guy who uses, and I have an assistant just to do graphics and reels for me, and she's using my paid Canva account. But she's learning Photoshop as part of her, it's a college friend of my daughter's, and she's learning how to use Photoshop as part of her graphic design degree. So she's getting, these 20-year-olds know a lot about this stuff. Well, she's 25, I should say. So I've never enjoyed creating graphics ever. So I love that I know what I'm good at, and when I know what I absolutely get frustrated and irritated by, and making graphics makes me irritable. So I pay someone to do it for me, and I don't pay a lot, but I think we have, especially as small business people, we have to know what are we good at and what do we suck at. And I suck at making graphics. So I send that to people who are good at that.
But you know what? It's such a great point you bring up. So I've always sucked at it. Always. I used to wish I had that graphic design gene in me where I was good at it, because I was one of the very, very first web designers here in Houston back in the 90s. And the magic sauce was if you could code and do graphic design. The people that could do both is phenomenal. I always had to hire a graphic designer because I can't get the concepts. I can kind of think of some ideas, but I don't have that artistic ability to like take an idea and draw it out or bring it to life in designs. But when I have a graphic designer, I could relay them my ideas and then
Mhm.
they get that going. Then what I'm very good at is to take what they started and like, okay, tweak this, this, and this, and it'll be perfect. Like I'm good at that part too. So I've always been frustrated with graphic design. And I learned Photoshop, but I was so limited because I wasn't good at it. Canva comes along years ago. I mean, Canva's been around a long time now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, this is like can make a non-graphic designer like me actually be able to do stuff. But all these years, it's like, okay, but you can tell like my stuff's bad, even with using all the elements and stuff. But now that they have these AI tools built in, and I'm not talking about the part where you give the prompt. I think their built-in prompting with Canva has never worked for me ever. So I don't even bother with it. I don't know if it helps other people, but I'll tell it to do something and never does it right. So
Same.
I like where it's at now, where I can utilize these AI tools to because it will bring, it's like having the graphic designer. They're bringing
Yeah.
the idea to life.
Yeah.
And because I'll have like a concept, not always, but many times I'll have kind of like an idea, but I just don't know how to visually bring it together. I
Right.
just don't have that in me. And I love when people
Same.
do. I love that people do. It's so creative and the way they can just create amazing things from their thoughts. I need a middleman. So it's always been a person that had to spend money and you have to wait on their schedule. And, there's a lot to it. But now with these AI tools, just like
Go
with
like
that
that.
example I showed y'all, I just
Yeah.
do what I always do. I talk to ChatGPT and just brain dump ideas, and it formulates thoughts of how to put it into the right prompt that I can then take to the image generator of my choice, which right now has been Gemini's Nano Banana or Whisk. And I tell you what, the Nano Banana Pro is pretty because they let you have a little bit of a taste of it for free, right? And
Right.
I was blown away a few weeks ago. I'm like, oh my God, this is so worth $20 a month. But it's like, how many more $20 a month plans can I be on?
I know.
I need to be on less. I don't need another one. So that's where I just go to Whisk.
Yeah.
Because Whisk is part of that. And I really think it's Nano Banana inside. I think that's what it's using. I don't know if it's using the Pro, but I'm never disappointed when I just go over there and
I'll have
do
to
it.
try it. I'm willing to play with it, but again,
Let me bring it up real quick to show everybody because
yeah.
it is real tool. It was something you know how that came about. So we talked about it here. I don't know, a few months ago, I think it was. Whisk was the one where I was talking to y'all. I was watching a video on YouTube stuff, and I think it was that guy showing you how the workaround with the YouTube thumbnail with the sizing because it would never do the sizing right in Gemini. Like when Gemini was new with the Nano Banana, it makes these amazing graphics, but I would try 20 different ways of telling me to size it for a YouTube thumbnail. And it still always gave me a square and it drove me crazy. So this guy had this video with just YouTube tips and like in the middle of it with no timestamps. Like I watched the whole thing and I'm like, wait, he had an idea of like, here's a workaround, but it was a little complicated in my eyes. It wasn't a quick one, but I always look at the comments. And someone commented about Whisk and says, oh, just go into Whisk and just tell it and it'll do it. I'm like, what's this Whisk? So let me show y'all because if you're not using this, it's part of Google, it's free, and it's really, really cool. So let me pull it up on the screen so y'all can, we'll do a refresher really quick. So is the URL is, see, I just go into Google and type Whisk AI because it's labs.google/fx/tools/Whisk. So it's a little long, but if you just Google Whisk, WHISK, like a whisk that you have in your kitchen, and AI, it'll take you right to it. So anyway, see, it says right here in the top left, Whisk experiment. So see, I think this is the beta of Nano Banana. That's my belief. Because when the whole Nano Banana first came out, and the funny name, Nano Banana, was just the code name they called it at Google, this apparently was already out and it's free. and it's just sitting here. I think people just don't realize. I never heard of it, but I saw somebody talk about in the comments of that video, and I'm like, oh, I got to check this out. And I use it all the time. So you just go into it and you just give it your prompt. If you want to add images, you add your images over here. And it's so I definitely recommend everybody play around with this. I'll put the let me put the URL in the comments
Wow.
here.
Okay, I'm gonna play around with it because I got Google Workspace, so I've got all these tools, and I've been using Notebook LM since it was in the experimental, which starts in the lab. So a lot of people don't. If you want to know exactly that labs, if you go to labs.google.com, you're gonna see
Yes,
all the stuff that they're working
there's
on. That's
other
not,
stuff. Yes.
yeah. Some of
Yeah.
it's already out, but a lot of it's experimental. It hasn't even. Sometimes what you see there is not even in beta.
Right. And I remember when we had talked about this a while back when I first brought this to you, I remember Jim was here too, and y'all were both talking about the whole labs thing because there's these other lab tools, and that was another way I got into it. And it just brought up, let me see, I think it's just the labs.google/fx. I think will take you. Yeah. Okay. So if you shorten the URL that I have there, so I have it on the screen, labs.google/fx. If you just remove the whisk and tools, so it was labs.google/fx. If you just put that in, it shows you these other things. Whisk, flow, which says inspire your inner storyteller. Here, let me just pull it up on the screen. I don't know why I didn't do that. Image FX, transform your ideas from text to images, and music FX, bring new musical ideas to life. So these are their experimental things, but apparently they're free.
Yeah, well, some
So
of them you actually have to, like there's one around music that you actually have to put in an application. I put one in. I'm not a musician, and I never got anything from them, but they work with producers, Hollywoods. Like they actually, you see videos of them working with saying, no, you don't, it's not closed, you don't have it. And then they'll, the software engineer will be right there next to them, and they'll work with improving the product. And yeah, there's some interesting stories there. They're really, if you can get in there and they accept your application, you can, and you're in the business, I think you'll be surprised of what they're doing
yeah, it's
around
interesting because
music. Yeah.
I'm on the FAQs and it talks about like, why they create this. This is a place where people can experience and give feedback on some of Google's latest AI technologies. So it sounds like they're not posting it to the world. It's more like if you know, right? And so Disk to me is the Nano Banana, but better. So I think it's probably the paid version. It just looks a little different, but I get really great results. So that's
Right.
my recommendation. That's why I love doing this show because there's so many interesting things that I uncover that I just want to make sure everybody else knows about. It's just super interesting stuff.
And Notebook LM came out of there, and I don't know if you've seen some of the latest announcements. I think you're
I'm
sharing
getting ready
some
to.
of
I'm getting ready to show y'all. Yeah,
that. Okay, all right.
that's literally. You must be a mind reader, Bez, because that's literally what I'm pulling up right now to show y'all. That's on
Yeah,
my list
I got my
next.
antennas out.
Because I feel like this is just one of those ones that people sleep on that they're just not paying enough attention to. And so Notebook LM, which is another Google product, and there's the free and the paid. I just use their free version. I've had no need for it, but they just posted this the other day that they just added a bunch of updates to the mobile app, and they gave out this pro tip. To combine features to unlock more functionality. So they said, for example, dictate your thoughts, notes, or your mad scientist ramblings to your phone. Then you upload the audio recording as a source to Notebook LM, which will bring your words to life. So it's showing like just on your phone, just record. And that's just something, all phones have the ability to do like audio recording. And then you can take that and with the share button, it says right here, share transcript to Notebook LM, or add the file. You got all these different things here, but basically getting that added as a source, and then it can take those ideas and put it into something.
Yeah. In fact, what you're saying is once you download that source, it can make it into a infographics, a slideshow, like
Yes,
so many things, all from one source. So I'm gonna start hanging out in Notebook LM some more. I've been seeing some really
absolutely.
amazing, like,
Like
why
this,
go
like
else?
this,
Yes,
like this. See,
exactly.
I mean, this is what I have queued up to show you all because I mean, it's so freaking cool. So yeah, this is another example they put out last week. Uh, that's an infographic created in Notebook LM. And just again, reminder, Notebook LM is part of Google. Like Google has really dominated. We hear about ChatGPT all the time, but Google has really dominated with Gemini and Banana running in it. And you got kind of Whisk over here to the side that you can be using. And Notebook LM is just part of that. And it's just Notebook LM, the letter LM for large language models, what we call, LLMs are large language models. So just language model, notebooklm.google.com. So in this example, this says right here, scientists are discovering that there's an amazing amount of information about your overall health detectable in simple images of your eye. They curated an entire Notebook LM featuring a notebook that explores this. So, they got this amazing graphic created in there. And then let me show you when you go into, because they made it public so everybody can go into this notebook. So sources are what's on the left here. So you can input all kinds of sources. You can have them as Google Docs, Word docs. You can have YouTube videos. You can copy and paste text. You can dump so much stuff in there or just put a few things in there. And then it creates this in the chat here. And then you can ask questions. It used to be when this first came out earlier this year, it was like a one-way street. You couldn't really ask it things. You could just input sources and it would put together all this amazing stuff. But now you can actually give it more prompts. And then on the right here, you have your studio and it can create, all kinds of cool things like, let's see what this brings up. Okay, so there's graphics. This seems kind of like a presentation. You got a document. And of course, we love the audio overview. We played around with this here on this live stream.
Honestly, sound a bit like science fiction, but
It
it's
sounds like a
grounded in
podcast.
some really solid data science.
It really is, showing how the human eye, just through simple pictures, can actually give us this incredibly detailed view of your overall systemic.
So you can sit here and listen to this podcast that was created. And then there's an interactive button we can click on and we can interact with them. Hold on, let me try this. Okay, so we're going to play the audio.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that honestly sounds a bit like science fiction, but it's grounded in some really solid data science.
It really is. We're looking at sources showing how the human eye, just through simple pictures, can actually give us this incredibly detailed view of your overall systemic health.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to deep learning to AI. We're not just talking about, needing glasses or checking for cataracts here.
Not at all. We're talking.
Oh, our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
Yeah, tell me more. I want to know more about this. I don't know if it hurt. Are you there? Oh, I don't think it hurt. It brought up my mic thing.
Hey, hello there. We love hearing from you.
H is an excellent question and one we've actually seen addressed in the research.
That's right.
I think it messed up because it was trying to get my microphone and I don't think it heard me at first. Anyway, it's very interactive. All you do is you put your sources in and then here's like a mind map it creates.
Yes.
And let's see what else. It's just
You could do FAQs, summaries, all that.
It does a lot. So this is not something to be sitting on. This is something that everybody should be playing around with. You can create multiple notebooks. You can just, have them one thing at a time. One of the things that, when this first came out, what I had everybody do as an exercise, and for anybody new here, you got to try this. Go to Notebook LM, into the source, put in your LinkedIn or just an about page you have online, something where it's all about you. So what I did is I input this about me page I had that had just like my history of the last 30 years in digital marketing, social media, all the stuff I do. And then I had it create the audio thing, right? And I played it for y'all here. And if anybody wants to boost their ego, just get an about page or copy and paste your resume, text, things that, but it needs to be more than just a resume, like just about you. And they're going to talk about you like a podcast, these two people, AI generated. And it is so flattering the way they talk about you based on, your all the things you do or did. And it's amazing. So that's like, I think the best exercise is just put in all the information you have about you and listen to what it comes up with. Super cool. I want to show some more things because of course I still got other things to look at for you. Nano Banana, going back to, how cool Nano Banana is, especially with their new Pro version. I want to make sure we have time for all this stuff. So Gemini 3 had posted this tweet the other day and it said, give Nano Banana Pro a one-word prompt and show us what you get. And in this example here, this person they just put the word grow. And this is the image it put out, which it does in literally seconds, which is just so cool. So, of course, I had to jump in and I'm on the free, so, I don't think mine did the pro. But let me show you what I did. All I did was pick the first word that come to my head, and it was squirrel. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I was just like, what should I put? What should I type? And that's what came out of me. And in just literally seconds, look at that. Look at the quality of that. That's amazing. From just giving it one word. So fun little exercise to try. It's just giving it a word and see what it puts in. Also with the Nano Banana, they have a new feature now, which is great. It says if you need to resize an image, that's the Pro version. And again, I don't have the Pro version. I'm not paying for it. I'm just using the free. And I still can't get it to resize something for me in the free. But it says in the Nano Banana Pro, you upload your image and you tell it what aspect ratio you want. And in this example here, it just keeps changing the aspect ratio based on what you type in. That's really cool. And that's incredibly helpful for all of us content creators. They keep working so hard to get us to pay for these. It's like amazing that for $20 a month with their Pro version, you could get all these capabilities we're talking about. So I'm leaning towards it, but again, I want to pay for another one. There's too many of them.
So I in the private chat here, I put a link going back to your notebook LM before we get too far down. Back a year ago, I went and did an experiment and actually walked my steps. I did exactly what you said. I put a link to my LinkedIn profile, article that was written about me in our district, Rotary district. They're like get to know Bez type of thing, and then my Gallup Strengths Finders, I put that in, and then I put I think a bio that I wrote, right. And oh my goodness, you're right. I felt like every time I'm down, I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna that's gonna
Exactly.
be pump me up. But yeah, that article that I wrote, or that post, I walked through all the free tools I used to produce that post, and that was a year ago. Now there's better tools, but gives you an idea what you put in and then the output. Because Madalyn, doesn't it sound good how they talk about you in the
Yeah,
deep dive?
I'm gonna pull mine up and play it real quick because that was the very first thing I did on here. And when I pull this up, it says it was from 415 days ago. So this is over a year ago. Holy cow. But to show you how awesome this is, and yes, it's a great ego boost, when you're feeling down. So all I did was putting these two resources here on the left here under sources of about me information. One was my LinkedIn and the other was just an about page from a website. So on the right here, I'm just going to play a few minutes of the audio.
Okay, so have you ever felt like you're just like constantly trying to catch up in this like crazy digital world?
Mhm.
Today, we are diving into the story of someone who did not just catch up, they straight up set the pace. Get ready to explore the career of Madalyn Sklar, a true digital trailblazer.
Yeah.
We're talking building websites like way back in the era of dial-up. Remember that awful screeching sound?
Yeah.
To becoming like a total social media powerhouse.
Yeah.
But this isn't just about what she
Hey,
did, it's about
we're
what we can
going way beyond that. It's like we're getting
glean
some kind of
from
X-ray
her
vision
journey
into
to build a really killer online presence.
Yeah. And it's a journey that I think holds some really powerful lessons, especially if you are at all interested in making your mark in the digital space.
Yeah.
What I find so fascinating about Madalyn is how early she was to recognize the internet's potential, and not just for business, but for community as well.
Right.
Isn't that wild? Just having this AI take information about you and create something like that. That's incredibly creative, interesting, and gives you a whole new perspective about yourself if you do this particular exercise about information about you. And by the way, next month will be 30 years that I've been doing digital marketing and all this stuff. So I feel so old. But yeah, 30 years. What a milestone. I started all of this January 1996. One of the
Wow.
first web designers in Houston, started my online music community, Go Girls Music, as my little fun side project that I did for 20 years. And all this just online because the whole .com thing was new. And I learned HTML and people wanted me to create web pages for them. And I'm like, maybe this could be a business. And started
Oh,
building online communities. Oh yeah, back in those days, Baz, in 1996, there was one way to create web pages. It was with
uh-huh.
Notepad. You use Notepad. There were no
Mhm.
Microsoft front page yet. There wasn't all those WYSIWYG tools. Those
Yeah.
came years later. No, it was like you use Notepad. You had to memorize code and just type it into Notepad. And that's how I learned HTML, and I had my little book that I would refer to from time to time. You learned how to do all the brackets and the B for bold and the I for italics and the href equals for the URL, and then you got to do the slash and close them all. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I had no idea I had that in me, but I learned it really quick and I loved it, and people wanted help. And that was my start into entrepreneurship. And I never looked back. I mean, I have been self-employed ever since. I've always worked for myself ever since starting those skills, techie thing, and then also community building, which I've done all these years. I'm always building different online communities, and all started from back then. Super cool. I
Well,
just love all this technology.
you had Dreamweaver front page in the late 90s.
Yeah,
And
those came out later.
WordPress too came out around that time,
Yeah,
late 90s.
yeah, it all came out a bit later, but in the early days, it was you had to actually know how to create code to be able to create websites, and it was very plain back then too. It was very static, plain, boring, nothing fancy, but it was different. It was cool. It was fun, and so many people would get in touch with me and say, "Well, I don't know what this .com thing is, but I know I need one," because it was so up and coming.
Oh,
And I helped a lot of companies get their very first web presence. And being that I'm in Houston, we're the big oil and gas capital of the world. So back in those early days, I had a variety of oil and gas companies reach out, and a lot of people didn't know what to put online. That was a big thing because it was all just mostly text and plain. And this is before images were a big thing. And they would have these huge annual reports that they were printed. This was back before PDFs and all. It was a
Mhm.
printed annual report. And they would send me this thick, huge thing and say, we need that digitized and put on this our website. We're gonna have a web page. We want to make it digital. And they would direct me to their printers. And these printers didn't know how to digitize. Nobody really knew how to do any of this. So it was a very groundbreaking time back then, like trying to figure out how to take printed materials and turn it into something digital, which we all take for granted now, 30 years later. PDFs really changed everything, but it was an interesting time, like figuring this all out as you go, and how to be a business owner, how to it goes back to my just do it, you know? It seemed like an interesting idea. The timing was right. So it's like, let me just go for it.
Well,
And look, and look,
as a recruiter, I did I staffed projects, and then I had my own business, and I had a friend bring me a bunch of web projects for businesses. Oh my goodness, the money was crazy back then for websites. It's like, and then the talent, if you had the word Java on your resume, oh my goodness, you could be a
oh
bad
yeah,
Java programmer and still get, pretty decent coin. But do you
yeah.
remember Macromedia that had
Oh yeah.
Flash? You
Yeah, so
remember
Flash
Flash, yeah.
Flash was very cool, but it was so resource intensive and the code was terrible and it would break a lot. And it got to the point where as a web designer, you just didn't want to deal with Flash anymore because it caused too many. It was cool and it was popular for a few years and it just went away because it was too difficult to deal with. And then
Well,
hated I actually hated Front Page when that came out because
oh,
Microsoft Code was terrible, and when that came out years later, everybody was all of a sudden a web designer. It'd be some big companies, you know, 15-year-old child creating it because they've got Microsoft Front Page and but they still couldn't make a great looking website. And so many times people will come to me and be like, okay, this was our attempt. It's terrible. Please take this and make it better. And every time I go look at the code, Microsoft Front Page made the worst code ever that I couldn't even deal with it. Like I would literally have to say, I have to start over. Like I can't even use their code. Because if it's decent code, you can work with it and then just change it up and do things. But Microsoft Front Page was just the worst back end coding and it drove me crazy. And it's like, no, we have to just give me your materials. We're going to start over. I'm going to build it from scratch.
well, that Flash, I remember exactly what you said. It was horrible. But I found a kid. I didn't know he was a kid in the UK. He was called The Void. And he's still around. He's now grown up. He developed his own compression algorithm.
You told us
And
about that once. Yeah.
oh, yeah. And I was like paying him $150 an hour equivalent
Yeah.
USD. And I asked him one day to lead a project and got a little skittish. And, I don't know what possessed me, but I asked him how old he was. And he said, I'm 16. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm paying him 150 an hour. But he was a rock star. He could make stuff.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was an interesting time, and the people that understood the technology. Super interesting. I think all we have time for real quick, since we're running out of time, is have y'all heard about updates coming to Facebook with the layout and all of that? Barb, I'm sure you know because I found out about it from Maury Smith. She had a post about it.
What's going on?
I'm going to show y'all. Did you hear about it, Barb?
Oh yeah. I still work with people at Facebook, so
Yeah, but I like how Maury put it. Is this the
I
instant
loved it.
gratification of Facebook or the further TikTokification? And I'm looking at this going, what's going on with Facebook? Because this is news to me. And I'm going to show y'all Facebook put out, and I'm sure, Barb, you could probably explain this best because I haven't really done a deep dive, but it's the kind of information everybody needs to be aware of. But Facebook is basically going to be changing up the layout. Does that sound right, Barb? Like they're going to like totally redesign it. They want to have improvements to their feed, the search, and the navigation, which to me sounds like it's going to completely change. Are you allowed to talk about it, Barb, or not really?
No.
Okay, that's okay.
But I'll just say that let's go back. I mean, like you talked about 30 years being there. We were both back here when Facebook started out. It's like, oh my gosh. But they still are not fixing the things that are broken that would really make a huge difference in and keeping people on the platform. And at this time of year, every single year they come out with this kind of thing. And it looks, it's another wowzer. Oh, this is coming soon. But it actually is kind of frightening because of the things that haven't been fixed. I think the biggest news is that, they're dropping the metaverse, so to speak. They're putting their attention into the product itself in 2026. So who knows?
But they were all over the whole metaverse thing. That just kind of
I know,
fizzled
and I
out.
just said, wait a minute, we've already been there and done that. But
Yeah.
remember back when we were having issues on the live, but we were getting viewers, we were getting reactions, everything was growing. And and then they turned their heads to the metaverse, and that did not help any of us. As a community builder, that story. So
Right.
I just love the two words that she came up with.
I know. I love that
It's like,
too.
I just cracked up over it. I said, at least I'm not alone.
I mean,
It
they
is
got these
crazy.
like little videos of what I did is I went to ChatGPT to kind of like, ask it to like kind of explain this, give me some
Me
talking
too,
points so I
yeah.
understand what this is all about. And let me just hit on a few things it said. And do you know when this is supposed to take effect? Do you have any idea, or are you allowed to say, or
No.
no comment? Okay, that's okay. So apparently there's going to be feed changes. Facebook says the feed will be smarter and cleaner. There'll be standardized photo grids and full screen viewing when you tap on the post. And I think that's what they're trying to show here, I think. With search upgrades, search results will now show more content in an immersive grid. They're testing a full screen viewer so you can browse photos and videos without losing your place. There'll be more control over the algorithm. You can now give more specific feedback about what you don't like in your feed. So that'll be interesting. Content creation overhaul. Stories and feed post composer is going to get redesigned. Popular tools like music and tagging are going to be more visible. Advanced tools are still there, but tucked away to reduce clutter. The thing is, when Facebook or any of these other huge social media platform makes changes, everybody flips out because you're so used to how it currently works. I still remember early days of Facebook, back when they opened it up to the public. You didn't have to just be a university student with the .edu email. I remember going, man, I got to wait. When are they going to open it up to the rest of us? Because there was that time right before that where there was so much buzz about Facebook, but you had to have a college email. You had to have a .edu email. So as soon as they opened it up to everybody, I jumped on there. It was impressive. It was different, interesting. But what I always found over the years is when they would overhaul it and the navigation was different or layout, people would flip out on me because I was always teaching. I mean, I was teaching courses online, how to use Facebook for business. I was doing a bunch of stuff back in early days, and everybody would flip out like, "Oh my God, why are they doing this? Now I got to learn this whole new way of navigating on here." And they've made like some major changes like this?
Yep.
Because it seems like it's been the same for a long time.
Well, they were focused on the metaverse, and then
Right.
trying to get things. But you and I both know that the groups are where the communities are at. I mean, that's really where the community.
But people are leaving it in favor of school because
and that's
Facebook groups
yep.
suck, you know?
You stole my line. So, I mean,
They totally suck.
yeah.
But I'll put the link in my YouTube description later for all of these, because this article, this is from Facebook Direct they're talking about all these different things it's going to do. I mean, it seems like it's a huge overhaul.
Mhm.
So I don't know why they decided to do that. Is there like, I guess you can't really talk about it. I bet I'd be wondering, why are they doing this now? What's going
Well,
on?
like I said, every single year I've been online, the high tech, the ones who are leading the way charge are out. They have to come out with something at the end of the year to make us look forward to the new year. I mean, it's just like what Google is doing and how they're really pushing it on hard right now. And so as we go into the year end, but
Right.
I, between TikTok, I've got to believe that I mean, I try my best to stay positive. And I just gotta believe it's going to be better overall. But I feel that a lot, I mean, just as you and Bez were talking about the good old days, we were weird because we got into the technology back then, and the world
Right.
was coming to an end any day now because we were into this stuff. It was worse than, before that it was smoking dope, and everybody's like it's all over. We made it through that too.
But don't forget, for those of us techies, who could forget December 31st, 1999? The world was going to
Yeah,
end.
right.
And I was married to like an IT engineer at the time. And oh my God, that was just the craziest time in the world for anybody in IT or technology. Everybody was
Yeah.
sure the world was going to end because the computers were not going to understand where to go from 1999.
Was
That was
that the
called Y.
Y2K?
Yes,
Yes,
Y2K.
Y2K.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember
it
Yeah.
was
that.
something
It
I
else.
got a
was
tattoo says
crazy.
Y2K right here. Not just joking.
You're so funny.
I'm expired.
Yeah. I was working for big pharma at the time, and so there were all these things like, to make sure that everything works the next day,
Yeah.
and nothing changed.
Exactly.
Nothing changed. Nothing changed. You had to be on call and everything and be there, and it was nothing.
It was just
Nothing.
another day.
But they thought the world was going to end. They really did. They didn't think computers would be able to handle it. It was such a funny time.
But what did happen is corporate America quit spending at 1201. And we hit a recession like you would not
Yeah.
believe.
True.
And then we had 9/11 compounded on the back
Yeah.
of that. It
Right.
was
Right.
rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
very rough.
Yeah. It was a crazy time. Well, we don't really have time to wrap up with the whole Substack adding live streaming on desktop. Do you plan
Come
to
on, I'll give
use
you
that,
5
Rachel?
minutes.
Well, we
I'll give
can
you
talk
5
more about
minutes.
we can talk we can talk more about it next week. Rachel, are you going to venture into this? And I wish Jim was here today because I'm sure he's been playing with this.
I was just going to say, I think I might just hire him to give me an hour's worth of coaching on it, because
That's a great idea.
I can figure out most of it on my own, right? I mean, that's the beauty of they're very user friendly. You click on something and it tells you what it does, right? But I haven't used any of the video stuff. And so I just kind of want to get a primer. I know I can go to YouTube or probably
Well,
Substack and figure
I'm
out.
on. This is on Substack's site.
Yeah.
Right here. Plus, they have that cool clips feature, which I'm always hearing about as well. That they is something they rolled out earlier this year, and that it sounds like it's a competition with Opus Clips. I love Opus Clips. I use that where you can put in your long form videos and it clips up for you to use in social media. It incorporates AI to grab the best ones, and you can
Nice.
go in and edit them. And so I use that a lot for my Kratom podcast. I don't use it for this because with 4 of us on screen or more, it is really for like a podcast with like you or you and someone else, because the way it can switch back and forth or be just you. I'll use it on my single form content where it's just me. But when there's multiple people on screen like this, more than 2, I played with it and it just doesn't work well for that. So I don't even bother. But it's interesting how they have a clips feature, and maybe they have a better way of utilizing it through Substack. But this goes back to it's free. All this is free.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best thing you can do is just try stuff again. The highest form of learning is teaching, but below that is doing.
Just
and that's
doing.
how we learn.
Well, this just goes back to I guess it's the theme of the day. I'll pull the tattoo out again. Just do it. Just do it. It's a real tattoo. Yeah. Well, just like I said at the start of the hour, I'm going to get over on my Madalyn Sklar school. I'm going to just start my little inner circle because I've been talking about it for a while. I'm going to just go ahead and get it started. And if anybody wants to come join, I'm going to get it going probably, what's today, Thursday? I'll probably have it going by the weekend. And my plan is, I always show you all this stuff here, but what I want to have is that next step where it's a weekly session inside of school, and I'll have them recorded, so if people can't come live, it's okay. Where we deep dive, and I can show a lot more. especially with like some of these workflows I come up with utilizing AI to help my social media. I'm always coming up with new ways of doing stuff and trying it, but I can also answer questions and help people work through stuff as well, but in a group. So that's the
I
plan.
love it.
I'm going to just do it.
I know. I started when there was the $9 a month school option. I signed up for that for Bad Redhead Media, but I haven't done anything with it yet
You
because
need
I've been
okay.
so busy.
So you need to do something with it.
I know. So I'm
See,
watching you. I'm watching you.
yeah. So it can also, and with the way my style of teaching anyway is pretty much like coaching and accountability coach and all that stuff too. So if
Love
anybody
it.
wants to come join my inner circle, we're going to help everybody stay on top of things and get things done.
Nice. I'm
That should
signing
be
up.
like if I had room on my arms, that'd probably be the next tattoo. Get things done. But I ran out of room, y'all. My last tattoo was a couple of years ago where I had a little bit of room left because I wanted to get my logo for my podcast, my kratom. Turn my arm back, like
Cool.
my little kratom logo. I was
That's so
determined to
cool.
find a spot for it, but I just got all tatted out, which I wasn't trying to do. It just kind of happened. You just start going and then you don't stop. And a lot of extra happened while I was taking care of my mom, and it just kind of became a self-care thing. It was like my little opportunity to just get out of the house and just kind of chill. And I was good friends with my tattoo artist, and it's like, well, let's just keep going. I already got a bunch. Let's just keep going.
Add more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have 2, but this one says breathe.
Oh, I like
script. I
that.
don't like the B because it ran, but the rest of it's pretty. It's a pretty script. Now, I
It is
did
pretty.
this to remind myself to take deep breaths
That's
because
a good
when I
one.
don't, I get anxiety. But do I remember to look at it? No.
Well, see, and I did one like that too. So I have one right here that says faith. It says faith.
Yeah.
So being self-employed for
Beautiful.
30 years next month. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I need that reminder. I want some on my wrist I can just look at and go, that reminder to just keep going. And so I came up with faith, and I put that there to just like have faith in myself. And I always forget to look at it too,
I'm telling you.
but it's right there.
It is. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just ingrained in us.
Yeah.
This is always a great chat, y'all. I love doing this. I love that y'all come here and hang out with me. This was just an idea. I didn't know if anybody come hang out,
Well,
especially
Pip
when I
clearly
pivoted.
loves it. Pip loves it. I mean, he
I
never
know.
comes up on my computer. Like I shared a picture on Substack and I think on Facebook and
I saw
Twitter.
I saw it on X. Yeah,
Yeah.
I already reposted it.
He literally just
Let me
sat
show
on
you.
it and watched you guys for a good 30 minutes. Just didn't move.
Let me show y'all. Yeah, it's so cute. I saw it just a little while ago. It's adorable. So very meta, you taking a picture of us while we're live streaming. So yeah,
I
it's cool.
know.
Hey,
But
hey,
he did not move.
Madalyn, you can
cute.
say that your show is pet friendly.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's true.
Absolutely. It's 100% pet friendly. I can't
100%.
have my pet in here because when she hears me talking, she thinks I'm on these live streams. She thinks I'm talking to her. She doesn't
Aw.
understand. She just hears my voice and goes, "Oh, she's talking to me. Let me come over and harass her." So I always have to close the door and keep her out.
I've
What's her
got
name?
Lucy.
Lucy. I love that.
Lucy is my 3-legged husky. She's awesome.
Aw.
And I got her at the SPCA. They told me she was a rescue that was hit by a car and brought in as an emergency. And they tried really hard to save her back leg and weren't unable to, so they amputated. And then they put up for adoption because they couldn't find where she came from. And it was while I was still taking care of my mom, and I had to wait till my mom was at a point where she wasn't getting up on her own because she had lost her vision. And so she was still kind of utilizing her walker a bit, or just getting up when I first started taking care of her, when I moved back home to take care of her and lived with her. And I was like, well, I can't have a dog, because I'd be worried she's going to trip and fall. So once she got to the point where she was 100% dependent on me helping her with a walker or wheelchair, I'm like, now I can get me a dog.
Aw.
So, because I'm a dog person, and it was hard for me to not have a dog during that period, but I knew I couldn't bring one with me to take care of her. So I just told her, I said, I'm going to go get us a dog. And she's like, okay. And I went to the local SPCA. When I saw Lucy, I mean, 3-legged, I'm like a sucker. I'm like, nobody's going to want her. Oh my God. But my intent was to get a dog that was at least a few years old, because the last thing I need is puppy behavior. Well, I'm already taking care of my mom. I have my hands full. I don't need any other stress added. And they said she was 2 years old, but I just saw the 3-legged. I'm like, I got to take her home.
Aw.
And then I take her, bring her to the vet, and the vet's like, she's about a year old. And because she was very hyper, Siberian Husky, they're very smart, very hyper. But she's a great dog, and it was a great
Aw.
addition. So she's awesome.
That's so
Yeah.
sweet. I just want to share, Pip adopted us. He showed up on our doorstep and just
Oh,
never left. And he was skinny and cold. So of course we took him to the vet. He wasn't chipped. We said, okay, he's ours. And he's been our little prince now for about 8 or 9 years.
oh, what a
Never been
cutie.
outside since.
Aw,
We keep him safe.
that's so cool.
I have 3 dogs here, so my
Oh,
4th dog is around the house with my wife. But yeah, we all got pets. Barbara, do you have a pet with you?
I have the 2 corgi kids, and they're both sleeping in their castles right
Aw.
now.
they're so cute. I love corgis. They're
That's
so
awesome.
All right,
cute and so
we're definitely
sweet.
a pet show. We're a pet show.
There
We
you go.
are.
Well, we got all these live stream ideas. So we're going to do Back to the 80s, baby. And we now decided we're going to do it on Substack's new live stream feature on desktop. Although Jim could probably show us how to be here in StreamYard and put it on there in addition to YouTube or Facebook or wherever else we want to have it. And then we should have a pet-friendly show too.
That'd be super fun.
Or we could
We're
combine
already doing
both.
it. Yeah.
Back to the 80s with pets.
Bring your pet.
I'm up for that.
Dress up your pet in the 80s.
Oh, have you seen
We
those
always have ideas.
those videos now with they have a little dog that, like, in some insect outfit, and it goes scare a bigger dog, or
No. Okay, send a video for next week so we can play that, because I have not seen
okay.
that.
Yeah, I seen them
That's
on
awesome.
Facebook.
That sounds like fun. Is it made with Sora
Ultimately-
though? Is it AI? Is it like an AI
It could
generated?
be. I don't
bet
know.
it is. I bet
Dude,
it
I
is.
don't-
I can't
Sorrel-
imagine.
Sorrel has a distinct. You can tell the audio.
I gotta run. Bye, guys.
Bye, Rachel.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
finish, Bez.
Yeah, Sorrel has a distinct audio, so I can tell if it's Sorrel typically, even if they take the logo out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
We're just a super animal friendly environment here. I love it. Well, let's wrap up. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Always good being here and learning and sharing with each other. And we're
Yeah.
gonna do that Back to the 80s baby live
Hey,
stream. We just gotta
maybe-
schedule
maybe-
it.
just when you're bored, just show up. I tried it, it didn't work, but
Yeah,
I hung out for a little bit, but
I
that's
didn't
okay.
get a notification. I did not know. So you did that
I gotta have
in
a
our school.
notification, and I
You
think we
did?
should put it on the calendar. No, I didn't get it either. That's why I said I missed
I think
it.
we need
I
to
really
schedule.
wanted to participate. It needs to be scheduled, and
the-
that way
Let's
we
Yeah.
don't
let's
miss
just
it.
do it. Let's
I
just do it.
mean,
Let's pick a day and time. I think it
Yeah.
should be like on an evening, an early evening or mid-evening, not too late.
yeah, I can't do
And
late either.
oh,
Saturday night.
we're all in
yeah.
different time zones too. So
Right,
Barb, you're in Mountain, right?
right.
And I'm
And
Central,
I
Bez,
do
you're in
like
Eastern.
I contributed one list in there because I missed it, and so I commented on his. But I do that every week in my high school class group, my alumni group, and in my family group typically on Friday afternoons. And I pull in everything from YouTube, and they even have karaoke on YouTube that you can pull in. And
Oh, wow.
so, yeah.
I think we should do this on Substack now that they have the live stream available on desktop. I think I think it would be interesting to see I think it would attract a lot of attention over there versus just doing it inside my Madalyn Sklar school, because it's just a small
Which
group.
one? Which
Back to the
eight-
80s.
No, because then that's the public streaming and all the music. We
Oh,
won't
you
be
want to keep it
able.
super.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You're
Well,
right.
do
because
that.
you'll get hit with a bunch of takedown notices. Yeah.
Yeah,
true.
right.
So
That's
Very
true.
good, Bez.
Yeah, yeah. Because you want us to play videos in there too? Is that what you're
just play
saying?
music, but
Play music.
Just
um,
music. That's
Yeah.
you can do that inside a closed
You can
community.
do it. Yeah. We
Zoom.
wouldn't be able to record it. I mean, we could
No.
probably record it and it just stays in school, but it wouldn't be
Yeah.
public. Yeah. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's experiment. We need to just put it on the calendar. We need a day and time that works for us. And whoever can come join, great. If not, we'll try recording it. It just will only live on in there. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It always starts with that first step. We gotta just do it.
I got a disco light this small, and
You told us about that before when you first came up with this idea months ago. You were telling us about the disco ball. You said we should do show and tell. We all bring something from the 80s. Like, you have great ideas for this. We just haven't implemented. We haven't, yeah. I love that. We just have to just do it. I could probably find some stuff from the 80s. I have to go digging. Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
We just need
I'm
to-
looking for some artifacts. That sounds
Yeah.
like I'm in Claude,
Yeah. All right, I need to run. Great
Okay.
hanging out with y'all. Have a great, and thanks for all the
Yeah.
people here live. We've got a bunch of people watching live right now. Thank you. Catch the replay after we hit end stream. But always a great chat. We went over some really cool stuff, and we'll do it again next Thursday. So I'll see y'all then.
Okay, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Back to the 80s, baby. Bye, y'all.